Alright, this is kind of a little bonus project, pretty quick one. But this is going to be a garlic grinder or grater. So it's just going to be a small dish. It's going to have some little spikes later, which I'll show. But you can take garlic and you can spin it around in there, get a little bit of garlic in the dish, put some olive oil, vinegar, if you'd like to add some herbs. I've seen people use these for nutmeg, lemon zesters. It kind of works. Depending on what type of score marks you put in the middle, but we'll get to that once we throw it. So first and foremost, I'm gonna center this. That's all center. Okay, as always, using the heel of my hand, just cone it up. And then using the base of my thumb to cone it down. Okay, and then I want control, so I want my elbow in. You could cone this up, and way down if you didn't wedge it well, or if it's not a good batch. I shouldn't say good batch, but it's an unevenly dried batch. If it was left open. I'm going to center this a little bit low. We're going to go out wide, and to be honest, most of this clay, I started with exactly 3/4 of a pound, but most of this clay is just going to be on the bottom of the piece, hopefully nice and level, nice and compressed. And I'm going to center even lower than that. You really want to make sure there's no air pockets in this. Okay, so now I'm going to open like usual. Open down, add a little bit of moisture for the ride, opening out. I've seen people do like a cheat method with a stick. They start it real low. You could do that. So right now I'm compressing this bottom. I'm just adding pressure. I'm not trying to dig any deeper. I just want to add pressure. All the way across, back out. Okay, I'm going to recenter because I threw it off center. Okay, I'm going to slow my wheel down for the pole. So this pole at first is going to go up, but later it's going to go out and be nice and concave or rounded. I'm going to try to make it as far out as I can for you so that you can see it on the inside. I'll show you various ways to make the little texture on the inside. Got a little rock in there, a little hard spot. So right now I'm doing it just by hand, compressing all the way down. Still got a little bit of clay on the outside. So I'm going to really compress, I'm going to squeeze that in there. I'll try to cut out that little rock if I can. Got plenty of clay here. Okay, compress that lip now that I cut it. Got a little bit of that pebble in there, but it'll be fine. It's a small piece. I'm not too terribly worried about it. It's not going to affect the function. Okay, so right now, it's a little too concave to get in there. So I'm going to take a finger and just tilt this out. Not too far, because I want it to hold some liquid. Okay, when I do that with a finger, too, it will have my little knuckle bones in there, so you'll see some lines. So then I'm going to take the round side of a metal rib, and I'm going to round that all the way down. And I can tell it's rounded when it doesn't leave any more lines on the inside. If there's a line, that's something that needs to either be pushed out or pushed back in. pretty much ready. I need to trim the outside. I'm going to trim it straight down. Get rid of that. Clean it up. Got a little chunk on there. Okay, then I'm going to take my wooden rib, and this is just to make sure the surface on the bottom is flat, nice and flat. So I'm going to take the round side towards the corner, and I'm going to compress again. And I'm going to get rid of that line. First with the finger and then with the sponge. Okay, I'm going to double check it with my rib again just to make sure, because I think I threw it off a little bit. Okay. Sponge that up softly. Make sure my lip is not only compressed but semi-straight. It's got a little wobble to it. Alright, so at this point, I could stop. I could stop here, wait for it to get leather hard. I would cut it right away, but leave it on here, let it dry 3-4 hours. If I'm going to leave it overnight, I want to bag the top at the very least. Maybe let those sides dry a little bit. But by cutting it, it does speed up the drying process and also allows it to be a little more even. Also, I've noticed on not necessarily this small of a piece, but a full-size piece that goes the width of the wheel or the bat size, S-cracks happen more often, and it dries a little more evenly if I just cut it, even if I just leave it on there, put a bag over it. But if I don't cut it, that bottom stays soaking wet and the sides start to dry a little faster. So next I would need a texture on the inside. I could wait until that got leather hard and use a chattering tool. I personally like that one specifically for garlic itself because it's a little less sharp. There's a little less corners on it, so those corners are a little more prone to chipping. But if you wanted sharper ones, say for the sake of nutmeg or zesting, you could use this graffito tool in a pattern going in. But I like to use the sharp corner of a modeling tool, and I spin very slowly, go even slower. And I draw 2 lines usually, one on the outside, one on the inside, because I don't want the inside all the way in. I don't want that to be rough because I like to dip my bread in there and I don't want the bread breaking off in those little crusties. So now I'm going to take that corner and I'm just going to tap in a pattern, working my way in slowly. I'm going to go a little slower wheel speed. There we go, as slow as my wheel can go. So I'm going to try to keep a rhythm here. Moving in. And I'll try to get you a close-up of this here in a second. Once I finish my rhythm. Okay, I'm going to do a few more on the outside. I missed the spot. I've seen people make special tools for these. Like I said, the chattering tool does one effect. I like the chattering tool because everything sways one direction, so that if you spin to the left, it grinds it, and to the right, it just sort of gives you a little essence and not necessarily a grinding or a grating. So I'll move that up so you can see the inside pattern. Okay, and that is the garlic grater. Lots of opportunities for different patterns and different tools, but a chattering tool works great after it's trimmed and leather hard. I don't usually trim a foot on these, but you can. I like to leave them flat on the bottom, but I do trim off that excess corner clay. So that is the garlic grater.